Okay. Hi, I'm James Bowe with Easy Insight. I'd like to welcome you to this webinar covering what's been added in recent months to Easy Insight. First, we've added the concept of folder tags to make it easier to find the fields you're looking for. If we go into one of our data sources and create a report, when you go to choose field, you will now see that there are, for a number of our data sources, there are some options here that allow you to filter down to a set of fields. Especially for some of our newer connections where there may be 20, 30, even 40 folders worth of fields, we found this can be very helpful for getting what it is you're looking for. We look at Katana, same sort of thing. We can pare it down into manufacturing fields, purchasing, sales, and stock. So we've added this for most of our most commonly used pre-built connections. Right now, there is no way to customize these on your own, but we will be adding a way to customize and add additional ones in the very near future. All right. Next, I want to talk about some of what we've added as far as conditional formatting on your reports. So here on this task report, let's say we want to display tasks where the task was completed. We want to show as a check mark instead of the word true. We can do configuration, conditional formatting. We actually have an example that we can plug directly in here. So if we plug this in, this will use the glyph function on our side to update that to be a checkbox. You can use the find glyph link here to find a particular icon for use so that you actually know what the names are. We click save, and I accidentally left off an I. Try again. And there we see that it displays with a checkbox. Okay, let's jump over to a different report, and we'll take a look at some of the other options for conditional formatting. First, let's look at how we can take this completed percentage and display it as a progress bar within a table cell, as opposed to just a number. We'll go to conditional formatting again. We'll go ahead and put in progress bar. You can see the example up here as well. We click save. And it's converted to a progress bar as opposed to just being a number. Next, let's go ahead and convert the project name from being pure text into being a button. Where we have found this is useful is, especially if you have some key drill through content that you really want people to click on to go into more detail around that when they click on that value. The syntax here is button, the field, the background color in HTML hex color, and the text color in HTML hex. We save, and the project name becomes a button. So again, especially if you're wanting somebody to be able to know that they can click on that, to jump into more details, to go into a dashboard that is specific to that project, things like that, it can make sense. Next, we can use the badge function. So we'll go ahead and put this on project completed. So actually what we'll do is we'll say if project completed equals complete, then we're going to put a badge next to the project completed value. We'll use the same colors for simplicity. We save. And I left off a closed parenthesis. Try again. Wait for that to run. And there we have our complete showing up next to the value. Finally, we've added the alt display function. So what we could do with this, for example, if open and late equals 0, we're going to use an alternate display of saying no open and late tasks, as opposed to just saying 0. That runs. And we see that that's now displayed instead. Most of these new conditional formatting options are available to you on list reports, on tree reports, and on summary reports. Okay, next, let's talk about how you can use export to Google Sheets. So we're going to go ahead and start with this report here that's out of Katana of unshipped orders. So as a scenario, we might want to set it up so that every night or every morning it updates a Google Sheet with the data out of this report. There's a few steps to making this work. Our recommended path is that first, you'll want to export to Excel the data that you have in the report that you want to set up. Go ahead and set up a sheet that is based on uploading that data. So in this case, I've taken the data, uploaded it to create the Google Sheet that has where the column headers match to the headers in our report. After you've done that, you need to create the connection. You need to create a connection to that Google Sheet in the same way that you would normally create a connection. So go to Connections, go to Google Sheets, do Authorize Access, takes you back to Easy Insight, choose the sheet you just created, that'll create the connection. Once you have that connection created, you can return to your report. First, you'll want to go to Configuration, Report Properties, go to Google Sheets, toggle the do you want to enable export to Google Sheets for this report option, and choose the Google Sheets data source name. After doing this, when you do export to Google Sheets, you'll see that the Google Sheet is updated from our report. Once you have the setup work done, you can then set it up as a scheduled export, just the same way you would set up a scheduled email. It's a small change, but as far as the dashboard editor goes, we've added a search here. So if you're just trying to find a particular report, it's easy to find. It's there to help find the report you're looking for. We have also added the concept of a dashboard table of contents. We'll go ahead and modify the teamwork dashboard here to include a table of contents so you can see what that looks like. We'll click on Page Options, do Add Page. We'll drag a table of contents in. And then we'll probably give it a name like Welcome. And we'll reorder the pages so that one goes at the beginning. All right, so when we save, do View, and we go back to Welcome. Now we have different sections that can then have descriptions for further detail. So if we edit the dashboard again, click on the edit link next to a given section, do Configure Page Description. You can add descriptions to a few sections. We'll cover that in a second. All right. Save. And now, if we go back here, you'll see that we have these descriptions, and you can click to directly jump into a given section. So especially when you're setting up dashboards that are designed for a large team of users who are not necessarily as familiar with what they're seeing, this can help you provide better guidance as far as where to go and what a given section within the dashboard contains. You can also add icons to your dashboards. So for example, we could go here, do assign icon, find icon. We could grab a few examples. You can search to find icons. Not sure what we'll use for this one offhand. So we've only assigned a few in this case, but when we look at our dashboard, we see that the icon is displayed in the table of contents as well as on the left. Again, just kind of providing a little bit more polish to your dashboards and a little more visual clarity to your users around what it is they're seeing. All right. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the enhancements that we've made to drill throughs. One of the scenarios that we wanted to help to add better handling for was if you are, so in this case, we'll go ahead and start with a report here. I've called just drill through chart. What this by default is showing is deal size month over month. Then what we're going to do is pull up this second report where we have the sales rep, we have the deal size, and we have the opportunity count. Now, in this case, what we want the user to be able to do is click on opportunity count and view the opportunity count month over month. However, we don't want to have to set up a whole ton of different drill through reports. We want to just kind of reuse one to minimize how many reports we have to manage and how much setup work is involved in the first place. To do this, we'll go ahead and click on edit this field for opportunity count, go to add links to URLs or other reports. We'll choose drill through chart as the report. And then as the key thing here, we're going to toggle the add field to target report option. So we scroll down, click save. Now, when we click on this value of 10 opportunities, what we're seeing are the opportunities in the drill through report, not the deal sizes. So this can just be a way to create more kind of smarter, more interactive drill throughs without having to set up a whole ton of different reports and then have to manage those different reports as you go forwards. All right. Next, let's take a look at some of our enhancements to tree reports. So if we go into teamwork, do create and create report, what we're going to do is set up what we call a cascading tree. Now, the scenario that you'd want to use this for in the case of teamwork would be looking at tasks and subtasks, the same sort of thing for Asana. We'll choose a tree. First, we'll click on customize and choose cascading tree. We'll go ahead and pull in, first, we'll build out project name, task list name, and task name. Then we'll go ahead and choose, so this is the part that gets a little tricky, but what we're going to choose is the parent ID is the task parent ID field. And as the ID, we're going to choose task ID. So as we open up our tree now, just like a standard tree, we have project, we have task list, we have task. But when we open that up, we're then able to navigate into the subtasks and into the further nested subtasks. So especially if you have a very complicated web of tasks and subtasks, this can be a great way to help visualize that data. On the Katana side, we have the same sort of thing for when you're looking at bills of materials. This applies for Katana, for Deer, for Unleashed, for Sin 7, any of those systems. So if we look at this pre-built report that is here, we're able to open it up, see, okay, what are the different components that fit into that bill of materials? And for each of those, we're able to look at the quantity in stock, the average cost, the product name, the default supplier name, so on. So especially for data models where there's a parent-child relationship, so task, subtask, a bill of materials with nested line items, nested accounts in a QuickBooks Online or a Xero, or anything you might have in your custom data that has a parent-child relationship. This can be a great way to pull all that together. All right. Let's see if there's anything else to cover. Let's see. I think that's about it for what we were going to cover out of my agenda here. So, are there any questions? We'll go ahead and wait a minute here, and if there's no questions, then everyone can have 10 minutes back. All right, wait. And it does not seem like we have any questions. So thank you for attending this webinar. We'll post the recording. We will share and post this recorded webinar after. We'll make sure to email that out with the link. And I think that's it. Thanks for attending, and everyone have a great day.